Hello and welcome to Storytime with Mr. Ryan. As you may know, the Summer Olympics are upon us. This is a wonderful time, a tradition that goes back thousands of years, with the best of the best athletes in the world all coming together and competing in one place. Athletes train their entire lives to be able to participate in the Olympics with the dream of taking home a gold medal for themselves and their country. The Olympics is a time when people feel community. People feel a sense of home, a sense of national pride. But in 1936, the Olympics took place in the city of Berlin, Germany, at a time of serious strife when the Nazi regime was coming to power. These people felt that they were better than others, that people who were different from them did not belong, especially not participating in the Olympics. But one athlete, Jesse Owens, would prove them wrong. Today we read Jesse Owens by Jane Sutcliffe with illustrations by Janice Lee Porter. Let's hop on in. JC's bare feet sped along the ground. He loved playing tag with his friends. A boy reached out to tag him, but JC dashed away. The other boys clapped and cheered. When Jesse Owens ran, there was no catching him. JC was born in 1913. His real name was James Cleveland Owens. He grew up with 7 brothers and 7 sisters. The Owens family lived on a farm. They worked hard, raising corn and cotton, but most of the crops went to the rich man who owned the land. The Owens family was poor. JC's clothes were usually ragged and thin. Still, the family always had enough to eat, and they had each other. For fun, JC and his brothers swam and fished in a nearby pond. They liked to hunt in the woods. On hot summer nights, they camped by an open fire. On Sundays, JC went to church with his family. After church, the men gathered for races. JC's father was the best runner around. JC thought his father looked like a rushing train. He dreamed of running that fast someday. The Owens family's house was a shack made of wood and cardboard. Cold winds blew right through its walls. Every winter, JC became very sick. His family called it the devil's cold. Being sick so much made JC thin and weak. JC's mother dreamed of a better life for her children. It was hard for black families to get ahead in the South. Many had moved to cities in the North. Maybe the Owenses should too. When JC was 9, his family moved to Cleveland, Ohio. He went to a new school and made new friends. People in Cleveland didn't talk the way JC and his family did. On his first day of school, JC's teacher asked him his name. He replied, JC, in his southern accent. To the teacher, it sounded like Jesse. JC was too shy to correct her. From then on, everyone called him Jesse. Things were better for the Owens family in Cleveland. Jesse's father and brothers got jobs in a steel mill. At around age 12, Jesse began working too. After school, he pumped gas, shined shoes, or watered plants in a nursery. When Jesse was 14, he started junior high school. His new gym teacher was Charles Riley. Coach Riley saw something special in the new boy with the skinny legs. He thought Jesse looked like an athlete, so he asked Jesse to join the track team. Jesse couldn't wait to tell his parents, but there was a problem. The track team trained after school. That was when Jesse had to work. So Coach agreed to meet Jesse before school instead. Every morning, Jesse got up an hour early for practice. The school was empty and quiet. The only sound was the crunch, crunch of Jesse's feet on the track. He always tried to run the way Coach taught him. He held his head high and straight. He practiced picking up his feet as soon as he had set them down. "Run like you're on a red-hot stove," Coach told him. Soon he was running with a smooth, graceful style. Over the next year, Jesse's legs became stronger. He became faster. One morning, Coach decided to time Jesse in the 100-yard dash. Jesse's feet flew toward the finish line. Coach checked his stopwatch. That couldn't be right. Coach found another stopwatch. Jesse ran again. The time was the same. Jesse had run 100 yards in 11 seconds. That was close to the world record, the fastest time ever. Coach Riley had been right. Jesse Owens was a fine young athlete, and he was becoming a champion. One day, a famous runner visited Jesse's school. Charlie Paddock had won medals in 2 Olympic Games. Jesse was excited to shake his hand. Right then, he knew that he wanted to be an Olympic champion too. Coach thought Jesse's dream was great. He told Jesse to think about the future, not just the next race. "Train for 4 years from next Friday," Coach said. Jesse listened, and he kept working hard. Jesse entered East Tech High School in 1930. He kept training with Coach Riley. Jesse ran 79 races in high school. He won 75 of them. He competed in the long jump and the high jump too. Before long, Jesse was doing more than winning. He was setting records. In his senior year, he set a world record in the 220-yard dash. Crowds loved to watch Jesse run. With his easy, graceful style, when Jesse was on the field, people barely noticed anything else. Jesse finished high school in 1933. Many colleges wanted him to be on their track and field team. Jesse chose Ohio State University. His new coach was Larry Snyder. Coach Snyder taught Jesse to run even faster and jump even farther. Jesse won event after event for the Ohio State team. In May 1935, the team traveled to Michigan for a championship meet. Jesse had hurt his back playing football with friends. Coach Snyder didn't want Jesse to compete in the meet, but Jesse didn't care about the pain. He knew he could win. The first event was the 100-yard dash. For Jesse, the race seemed to be over as soon as it began. He won, and he tied the world record. Next was the long jump. The world record was 26 feet, 2 inches. Jesse marked that distance with a towel. He ran toward the takeoff board and leapt into the air. The towel came closer and closer. Suddenly, it was behind him. Jesse had shattered the old record by more than 6 inches. Minutes later, he broke records in the 220-yard dash and the low hurdles. In less than an hour, Jesse had set 3 world records and tied another. Jesse became famous that day. Reporters called him the world's fastest human. Everywhere he went, people wanted to shake his hand. A few months later, Jesse had something else to celebrate. On July 5th, 1935, he married Minnie Ruth Solomon. Jesse didn't have much time to enjoy married life. In the fall, he went back to Ohio State. Everyone on the track and field team was talking about the Olympic Games. They would take place the next year, 1936. Going to the Olympics was all Jesse could think about. Jesse tried to study hard in college, but he had always liked running better than studying. He failed one of his classes. That meant he could not compete until spring. Jesse kept training, but all winter he had to watch while his teammates competed. The Olympic tryouts were coming up. Would he be ready? By spring, Jesse could race again. Once more, he was winning races and breaking records. At the Olympic tryouts, it was no surprise when Jesse finished first in all his events. His dream was coming true. He was going to the Olympics. Jesse and his American teammates traveled to Berlin, Germany for the Olympic Games. Adolf Hitler had become Germany's leader in 1933. Hitler believed that white Christian Germans were better than other people. He especially hated Jews and people of color. He believed that white German athletes would beat everyone else at the Olympics. That would show the world his ideas were right. People all over the world were horrified by Hitler and his ideas. They hoped that Jesse and other black athletes would prove Hitler wrong. Jesse was not thinking about Hitler. He said that all he could think about was taking home one or two of those gold medals. But first, he had to solve a problem. His running shoes were missing. His coach searched the shops in Berlin for new shoes. Just before Jesse's first race, the coach found 2 new pairs. But still, the coach was worried. Stiff new shoes would hurt Jesse's feet. That didn't bother Jesse. "They'll make me jump farther when they begin to hurt," he said. Jesse's first event was the 100-meter dash. A cold rain was falling. The track was soggy, but Jesse kept his eyes on the finish line. Bang! The starter's gun went off. Jesse sprang into the lead right away. He crossed the finish nearly 10 feet ahead of the other runners. Jesse had won a gold medal. He had also tied the world record. He watched proudly as the American flag was raised for him. The next day was the long jump. Each jumper had 3 tries to make it to the finals. Jesse warmed up the way he always did. He ran down the runway into the pit, but then he got a surprise. The judges told him that this was not allowed. His warm-up would count as one of his tries. On his second jump, Jesse stepped past the end of the takeoff board. That was against the rules too. He had just one more chance to make the finals. Jesse was afraid. Suddenly, Jesse felt a hand on his shoulder. It was Lutz Long, a German long jumper. Lutz was Jesse's toughest rival. What could he have to say to Jesse? Lutz knew Jesse was scared. He told Jesse not to worry. Jesse's jumps were long enough, he said. The important thing was to not make another mistake. Lutz told Jesse to place a mark a few inches behind the takeoff board. "Jump from there," he said. Then Jesse would be sure he would not overstep again. Jesse smiled. It was a great idea. He relaxed, and then he made his jump. This time, it was good. It was time for the long jump finals. At first, Jesse was ahead. Then Lutz jumped just as far as he had. On his third and final jump, Jesse burst off the takeoff board. One reporter said he looked like he was jumping clear out of Germany. When he landed, he had won the gold. Lutz Long won the silver medal. He rushed to Jesse's side and shook his hand. The 2 athletes left the field arm in arm. Jesse also won gold medals in the 200-meter dash and the 400-meter relay. He had set 4 Olympic records. Hitler was disappointed, but the German crowds loved Jesse. They chanted his name from the stands. His picture was in newspapers all over the world. Jesse had made his dream come true. He was an Olympic champion, and he was an American hero. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Here's a picture of the athlete Jesse Owens. I hope you guys enjoyed learning about this really incredible figure. What an awesome person, huh? Able to break world records and show the world that he can compete just as well and even better than any other athlete. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Mr. Ryan. I hope you guys feel free to check out some of my other videos on this channel, or if you're looking for fun activities you can do from home, you're free to check out veronalibrary.org/children. Until next time, I'll be seeing you. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.